New York can be cold and miserable during the winter time, way too hot in the summer, but every once in a while in the spring and in the fall, we get these Goldilocks days where everything is just right and it's magical. Today is one of those lucky days, so come with me, we'll get a cup of coffee and we'll go do some urban sketching.
Now, as much as I'd love to stay outside all day today, I have only about an hour and a half because this weekend I'm teaching another class at Grand Central and I need to finish preparing for that. By the way, if you're in New York City, I hope you can join sometime. I do this almost every Saturday and there's usually about 10 to 15 people there, so it's a lot of fun. If you're interested, check the link below. But despite the time limit, these quick drawing sessions, like what you're going to see today, these are the backbone of my work. This is how I learned, and it's therefore my hope that this rough demonstration will likewise help you. Normally, I would approach this with a bit of a schedule in mind, so I don't just sit down somewhere and immediately feel lost. For example, in this case, I might spend 30 minutes walking around and making quick 1-minute thumbnail sketches before choosing one of those sketches to make 1 or 2 longer drawings. That said, I've been to this neighborhood so many times, I kind of know what I'm looking for. I like scenes with a lot of activity, so these markets are always a good choice. And in particular, this one has a good street corner where all of the traffic becomes concentrated. And I think that center of energy will be a good basis for a composition. So even though I'm not making thumbnail sketches, I can still envision a plan about how this landscape is going to fit onto a page in my sketchbook. One way I can make sure I stick to that plan is by starting my drawing a little over here, a little over there, and then bouncing around the composition so that the whole thing develops at once. This way I don't just get lost in tiny details in one corner and then lose proportion by the time I get to the other.
Sun's kind of getting in my eyes a bit, so I'm gonna try to move a little bit, but pretty good start so far.
During this process, I'm thinking of this landscape as having 2 basic layers. There's the building and the people and the foot traffic. The building is like a giant rock, whereas the people are like a river that flows around it. So to emphasize that contrast, I'll use a slower, more careful drawing rhythm for the structure. I also might use heavier lines, especially where there's shadow. And then I'll use a more loose quality for the people. The only exception is when I want to draw specific individuals who will help tell the story. Since this is a market, it would be good to include some people who are, for example, inspecting produce or putting items into a bag. Overall, I find breaking things down into decisions like this really helps. This is the final result of my first drawing, and I'm pretty happy with it. It'll definitely make a good addition to my new sketchbook. Now, realistically, this one took about an hour, so my next one has to be a little faster. Walking down the street, I came across another market that immediately impressed me because its presence of shape. Shape is one of the 7 elements of art, and it's a good handle for making and understanding compositions. I really liked how the umbrellas formed a canopy and you had to kind of duck underneath them to purchase something. And so I wanted to include something like that within the drawing itself. This was a very narrow part of the street. I don't know how well you can see that here. Fortunately, the drawing only took about 10 minutes or so, meaning I was out of there quickly. I did share the drawing with the women at the stand though, and they really liked it, so that was fun. So there you have it, 2 quick sketches, a good day's worth of drawing practice, and a fun afternoon sipping coffee and enjoying spring. If you liked this video or found any of these quick tips helpful, be sure to give me a subscribe, and I'll see you next time.